How's it going, my Comic Chat Army? We're here today with Nina Daisy Aberlein, the creator of Sunrise Blossom. How you doing?
I'm good, and my cat Ebony decided to join us. I'm good.
Nice.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I think you might be the first person we've interviewed that's in Italy.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So what is the book about?
So the book Sunrise Blossom is a coming-of-age story about a young falcon harpy, Ivy, a young lady who was abandoned by her mother and raised by a family of owls. One day, while traveling with her sister to learn about human culture, they have an argument, and Ivy is separated from her, only to be picked up by a human woman, Violet, who helps her discover herself and bloom into womanhood. But a lot of shit happens. And no spoilers, a lot of good and a lot of bad also shit happens. And it is only after such dramatic turn of events that Ivy discovers her romantic feelings for her human companion. While in the second volume, after the dramatic ending of Volume 1, Ivy spends some time with a kind, old, smexy, fatherly man. But when his real daughter returns, it is time for our protagonist to return to her love interest.
I like it. So is the 2 volumes ready to go right now?
Yes. So it's all drawn. It's all formatted for print. It's all even translated in Italian for conventions and stuff here. So all I'm missing now is the funds from Kickstarter, and we're currently 227% funded. And as soon as the funds reach my bank account, it is going to print and then directly to the post office.
And you ship all around the world?
Yes, and do not be afraid, my kind Americans, of the euro symbol on the Kickstarter campaign, because, thank you to my kind friend RJ from Critical Blast, shipping to the US is hella cheap. Like, a lot cheaper than it would be sending all packages individually from the post office. So instead of spending like, I don't know, $20, $30, $40 on shipping to the US for the standard packages is about 13 euros, which in US dollars is roughly $14.50 or so.
Wow, that's cheap.
Mm-hmm. And thank you to this to RJ, who's helping me ship to the States. Not only is it cheaper, but it's also safer because all the shipping will be able to is trackable, if necessary, so they can't really be lost.
Okay. Let's say, yeah. Are you gonna attend any cons this year?
Yes and no. They keep being moved and postponed. Like, I was supposed to have one convention next month, but then it was canceled. And then I saw a post on their Facebook page this morning saying, hey, this con is actually happening, but it's happening in April. But it was happening like on the same date as another con that was organized by the same company. And I was like, hey, what's up? That's the same date as the others. And they're like, oh, no, don't worry. The other is also going to happen, but it's going to happen on a different date. And they're not very communicative. I would have appreciated an email since I was already confirmed for those cons. But yes, I will be attending at least a couple cons this year.
Okay. How are Comic Cons in Italy? Is it like the same here and just like a big room with everybody has tables?
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty similar to that. The main difference is that we have less smelly people in really big Big Bang Theory t-shirts, and more smelly old people who have been stuck in the 80s when it comes to comics and refuse to move forward. So it's similar, but we do have our small cultural differences.
Okay, nice. And so what was the creative process behind your comic?
Well, when I was in comic school, and I attended a 3-year comic school, during our second year there, they asked us to work on a small 4, 5, 6-page project on absolutely any topic we wanted, as long as the style wasn't realistic or semi-realistic. So it had to be closer to like the European comics like Asterix and Obelix, 1010, Lucky Luke, and different from like DC, Marvel, like that has a more semi-realistic design. And at the moment, I just thought of a quick idea of a short story of a woman driving her car at night hitting a bird while driving. And like when the vet was not able to answer her phone, she decided to bring the bird home and nurse it back to health for the night. But the next day, she wakes up with a half-naked harpy in her bed. And I grew attached to the concept. And so when I finished the comic that I was working on at the time, which was Our Name Was Maya, I jumped into this right away.
What is a harpy?
A harpy is like half human, half bird. Like here, pretty much.
All right.
So this is the first volume.
That's a big volume.
Oh yeah, the first volume is 223 pages, though it is mostly in grayscale. While the second volume is 53 pages, but the art is a lot better, and it's in full color.
Nice. Are you a one-woman team? Do you do everything yourself?
Exactly. All the money goes to my bank account and my bank account alone.
All right. Do you do any work outside of your own comic book?
Do you mean artistically or in general?
Like if somebody wanted, I guess, like a sketch cover or anything, do you do anything of that sort?
Yes, actually. I do have a Patreon, and funnily enough, most of my patrons don't even read my comic. Most of my patrons are there because I have monthly commissions available for my patrons, where pretty much like if you pledge $15 a month, then every month you get $15 worth of commission. So like maybe one month I do the rough sketch, the next month I clean up the sketch, the month after that I do the line art, the month after that I start coloring and so forth. And so many of the people who support me financially through my Patreon do it so that they can get my illustrations, pretty much. And I have done like cover art sketches and stuff like that for my friend Mike Jimma Lorsha, nobody knows how to pronounce his last name, I'm sorry. Mike Jimmy or Lorsha, I did a variant cover for Life on Korra 4. It was really nice. I really like it, though I don't have it right here. It's in another room. And his campaign, Life on Korra 5, is currently live on Indiegogo.
Nice. So do you have a website that we can direct people to?
Oh boy, I've got so many. But I do have a link tree with all of them together.
Perfect.
So if you go on linktr.ee/Nina D. Aberlein, you'll find all my social media. There's my Kickstarter link, my Patreon, Webtoon, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, newsletter, Tapas, Discord server, for Affinity, and Facebook page.
Wow, you are busy.
I guess. I try to be active on as many platforms as I can. Even Reddit, though I didn't put the Reddit in there because...
Right. I guess I'll get you to send me that after the video, and I'll add it to the description of the video. What advice would you give people out there that want to start a comic?
Start small. For the love of God, please start small. I see so many creators every day that are like, I'm going to create a comic and it's going to be the best thing ever. It's going to be the next Dragon Ball. And they like jump into a like 10-year project and they burn out and lose interest within like 3 months. Keep it small, keep it manageable, so that way you are able to gather both the experience and the feeling of what it's like, and you will be able to bring something to completion if you start small. There are so many creators who jump and start by doing something big that they pretty much like immediately lose interest and are not able to bring anything to completion. Start maybe with a 10-page project. When you finish that, pat yourself on the shoulder. You did better than like many other creators out there. Then maybe you can try a 30-page project. If that goes well, maybe you can start a 100-page project, but start small.
So you do your books in the style of like mangas, right?
Yes and no. Like there are some people that have referred to it as European manga because it's definitely very different from any canonical Japanese manga, but it's not quite European either or like American either. I guess it's kind of similar to like modern Cartoon Network or DreamWorks or modern like Nickelodeon shows, something like Steven Universe, She-Ra, Gravity Falls, a little bit, but Euro manga is like, it's pretty close, I guess, stylistically.
All right. I guess what would be one thing you would change about the indie comic community?
Well, it depends, because there isn't just one type of indie comic community, and I myself am part of many of them. So there is like the indie comic community that goes on shows like this, that crowdfunds Indiegogo and Kickstarter and like prints their comics and like goes to conventions. And then there's like the indie comic community just that like funds everything by themselves and goes to convention but doesn't really network online. And then there are people who maybe are technically indie creators, but they post on Webtoons, or maybe people that are technically still indie creators but only post on Tapas. People who maybe even only post on like DeviantArt or Instagram, and all of those communities are very different from themselves.
Okay.
But I guess if I like when it comes to the indie community of people that go on shows like this and crowdfund on Indiegogo and Kickstarter, which I guess is also part of the audience of the show as well. One thing I would change is how many people, when they come on when they go on various shows, like I don't know how to describe it, but like their lack of enthusiasm sometimes. It's like they come on shows and like, oh, so what's your comic about? And they're like, there's this demon and there's this hot chick and she has fox ears and they fight against darkness, and it's like
yeah. We'll talk more about that after the interview. But how long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been creating comics constantly for about 6 years now. So I started near the end of high school, and then immediately after that I went to comic school, and I've been creating nonstop ever since.
Like, is the name of the comic school actually comic school, or is it
yes.
like
it's comics school? It's called Scuola Comics.
Wow.
Which literally means comic school.
I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah. It's a company that has various branches all over Italy.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, when is the campaign going to end?
It's going to end mid-February. So technically February 14th is the last day of the campaign, but have no fear, young Jedis, because as soon as the campaign ends, or even right before that, I'll set up an Etsy store. So all the things that were available on the campaign will also be available for purchase on Etsy. The only thing, though, is that after the crowdfunding campaign ends, all the comics that were bought through the campaign, as I mentioned before, will be shipped to the United States through Critical Blast, and so the shipping will be a lot cheaper. But after the campaign ends, I will have to ship books individually, and so shipping to the US would be a lot, not a lot, it would be a bit more expensive than it is through the campaign.
Okay.
And also the prices of like the volumes themselves might be a little bit more.
Do you already have the link for the Etsy store?
No, not yet, because right now I am focusing 100% on the Kickstarter, and I'm going to work more on the Etsy and stuff that will be necessary later, as soon as I reach like a firmer plateau, that all crowdfunding campaigns get.
I'll add it to the interview later. I guess what advice would you give people to run a Kickstarter?
Do a lot of research, network a lot, reach out to a lot of people, prepare to be ignored a lot. Don't only contact people who do shows, try to contact people who have blogs, Facebook page, maybe popular Instagram page that talk about things like this. Contact other creators who launch around the same time as you, who maybe have similar genres, and ask them to cross promote, both like sharing each other's links, maybe sharing each other's projects in the Kickstarter page, maybe even doing some art trades to, push each other's audience back and forth. Prepared to be rejected a lot. I know I already mentioned this, but I can't say it enough. Prepared to be rejected a lot. But if you don't contact people, you're not going to go anywhere. It's going to be really hard, to gather an audience. And post freaking everywhere. It's posted freaking everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Reddit, Instagram post, Instagram story, Discord. I can't think of anything else, but everywhere.
Yeah,
and post regularly.
Yeah. All right. I guess, is there anything you want to say that we haven't covered already?
Let me think about this 1 second. Stay excellent to each other and party on, dudes.
All right. You said all your social medias is in the link tree?
Yes, I'll post it in the chat right now.
Cool. I don't know if they can see that, but if you can, there it is. I guess thank you for taking the time to come talk with us.
Thank you for having me. It was lovely.
Yeah, thank you.